Welcome back to another session. Today we will talk about Sunsama versus Todoist, or better saying, diving deeper into the differences between a planner, a calendar, and a task manager. Also scratching the surface of personal project management versus business project management. Well, let's dive into this. And we will start with the latest updates of the roadmap from Sunsama. And both of us, well, jaw-dropping, but not in awe, but in shock. Because yet again, another tool moves towards, hey, I know you want to have this, so let's make it. So we are becoming more like the same of all the other tools that we already have out there. And that's something that worries. Right, Paco? You know what I'm talking about. And I'm sure you can share more details.
Yes, in fact, well, I have here the 6 different points that I've extracted.
You have.
I've extracted out from the email that the Sunsamas team has, well, delivered to all the clients. Well, I guess that to everyone who signed up, even for free.
Got it, yeah.
So it's interesting because the vision, they start with the vision, and I think that that's a good starting point, okay? Because it says it all about where they are pointing to, okay? And their vision, here I read it literally, our vision is to build a task manager, so danger here.
Yeah.
A task manager that's specifically designed for the realities and complexities of modern knowledge work. And here, there are 2 terms, okay, that we can discuss, because I think that it's important to clarify the concepts and what a task manager is, what knowledge work, why they say, if they are just managing action, why they refer to, of course, that related or linked to an action, there's always information, okay, contextual information, context to give, well, that additional information that an action needs to be completed, executed, planned, whatever, no? But also there's a risky term also that is task manager, okay? We have always stated that Sunsama is not a task manager, okay? Whereas Todoist is a task manager, okay? And I think that discussing about this overlapping will clarify many things to the people, and also explaining how ICOR works, our methodology, and why it's so important to differentiate between these 2 crucial concepts.
Yeah, let's stick with the task manager word for first. As this is not the only thing. So you have a task manager, then Sunsama, from our perspective, as a planner application, keeps saying there are task managers as well. They allow you to add tasks. And then there's even the term to-do list apps that I see appearing over and over again at some comparison platforms. And personal project management and all these things. And we have to clarify, first of all, what is a task manager and how does it compare to a project manager? I think that's the first step we can do. I think let's quickly talk about this. For me personally, a task manager is always an application that gives me a short list of things I need to do and just keep checking off. The problem is that I have seen over the years is that people, and myself in the beginning, keep adding things to the task manager, and you have an infinite list of tasks that you then keep moving from week to week, and you get confused what is the priority, what you should focus on. So that becomes an infinite task list. That's the to-do list and things like that. So if you have a method behind that, that's what people do. They use a piece of paper, write down 3 tasks so they can focus on these few tasks during the week, and you can apply this to a task manager. You don't need a calendar in order to do that. So that's why we at the Paperless movement used specific tools for the other areas of a productivity system. A calendar, a planner application, a project management tool. So we can actually have these other areas of your actions in different places to make different things with it. Planning it out, having the goal setting and creative projects. Well, it already becomes too complex. The thing is then, we went to Todoist because it is a task manager and it focuses on exactly this, being a to-do list app, if you will, where I have a simple list of tasks that I can work on. And if I'm in control over my work, then I can handle a simple list in Todoist. And therefore, all I need to do is open up Todoist and work on a few tasks I have in there. If your life is more complex, as ours are, then your calendar comes into play in the moment where you are dependent on some meetings that you have, events that you have to attend. So you need somehow fit these tasks with your schedule. And that's where people then start adding the tasks to the calendar. How many people I saw adding directly the events or the calendar to manage the tasks manually. And that's why, and that was for me also the logical next step, it would be amazing if I could connect Todoist, the task list, with my calendar to show up the tasks on the calendar so I can plan it out this way. And that's what I did incorporate back then. When Todoist was a thing, they had a direct integration with the Google Calendar. And well, the thing is, I realized a two-way synchronization in a big corporate where hundreds of people are on an event, you shouldn't automate these things. It just, if I deleted a task in the task management, and I in fact deleted a global meeting for the whole company by doing this. Okay, so
maybe that was what he was expecting.
Probably. But then there are these apps appearing like Plixi. I don't know if anybody knows it, but back then this was amazing. It allows you to synchronize Todoist with calendar and also with ClickUp and well, many things that you can do. But all the synchronization made no sense for me anymore. The problem was the understanding of what is a task and what is planning and what is a calendar, right? Yeah. And that's where Sunsama came into play. For me, the biggest point is still bringing the scattered actions that I have in different places into a consolidated place. And in this place, I'm able to compare my long list of actions against my actual calendar events and then plan out my week accordingly. So I still have a simple task list I need to work on during the week in a sequential order based on priorities without the distraction of having all the other context around. So this means, in Todoist, infinite task list, project management, ClickUp, infinite other project things we need to do, right? Sunsama, full focus, because I only bring into Sunsama what matters right now, what was agreed on that we need to work on. And I have the comparison to the calendar and can perfectly schedule things out, but also react very quickly to update these things. That's why Sunsama is a pure planner application. And I know, Paco, you reached out to them, even proposing why they allow to create tasks inside Sunsama instead of just naming it items or something like that, right?
Yeah, the thing is that here we are dealing with different concepts, and it's important to really create the necessary boundaries to clarify what we are talking about, okay? Because here we are talking about tasks, we are talking about events, and we are talking about time, okay? I think that they are three totally different concepts that affects how we work and how we organize and plan things out. It's important to understand that a task is something that you need to do to complete, okay? Just you, let's simplify the things, because here it's important to understand that we are inside just the personal area, okay? What we call it personal, okay, area in the ICOR framework, okay, and the ICOR methodology. That is just the things that you are responsible and that affects you, okay? This doesn't affect your team, so you can forget. And I think it's beautiful in life to simplify the things, especially when things are complex. And by forgetting about the team, the projects, the communications with the team and all those things, we just fully focus in the personal area and think about how we handle all this, okay? Just because it affects to ourselves, okay? And I think that understanding that a task is something that I want to complete, no matter that it has additional information so that I can better manage that task. I think that that's important. And that's the main purpose of a task manager as Todoist, okay? It's just, I want to store tasks, okay? And add additional information if needed to that task, okay? Simple information that allows me to better handle them. That's a task manager, okay?
And here,
Period.
before you move on to the next one,
Yeah.
Todoist, a task manager, right? I had the interview with the CEO from Todoist, or Doist in this case, joking about ClickUp, that they add so many features and how amazing Todoist is that they focus just on one thing, being a task manager, a pure task manager, and they can focus on these things. Well, yet now, 2 or 3 years later, we see calendar appearing and now moving towards team management and collaboration and all the things. So the alarm bells went on, right? The moment we saw that. And now we come to the plan application. So
yes, because it's important to understand that we are like stating that task management is something simple, and it's not, okay? A tool that is fully focused on task management is covering a lot of something that it's really complex, okay? That's why it's important to choose a tool that is fully focused on that, because if they nail it, and the moment that you are fully focused into something, if you dedicate time and you are more or less intelligent, the people in Todoist are, they end up delivering an amazing product, because it's important for a task management how you capture a task, no matter where you are. That's important. It's important to quickly move things up and down. It's important to delay things and clean things up quickly, just using shortcuts, just maybe using drag and drop, okay? It's important to being able to have a database model behind so that I can organize and see my task in different ways. Well, there's a lot of complexity behind task management, and that's why we love to do this, because
and now,
it allows
seeing
you...
the comment from John here, right, it perfectly fits into this, as he's stating, I'm breaking a rule recently by pulling my speedies, tasks, non-project orientated, into ClickUp in my personal list, as ClickUp now provides the personal list that nobody else sees, right? This is to force me to spend more time in ClickUp and not my task manager, in his case, TickTick. 2 things. TickTick is more, that's an example where it gives even more features than a task manager should have. That goes beyond and in direction of project management. But I interrupted you there, Paco, because you just talked about speed. Quick capturing, quick reorganizing, quickly moving things around. And I only send things to ClickUp to my personal list if, well, there are not many,
Never.
reasons. That's the point. Yeah, they brought these up, and that's another example. They brought up the personal list for task management, and now they brought up also the calendar and also pretend to be a planner. And sorry for interrupting, but now you can keep going with the planner.
No, the thing is that why do people want to have everything in one place? It's because they consider that is easier, okay, to organize the thing if I don't have to look at 2 different apps, okay? And that's what a planner, because before moving, I think that we have clearly defined what a task is and what a task management tool is, okay? Let's move to a calendar. A calendar is a tool to represent events, okay? Events, meetings you're going to have. And that's it. It's not a tool, okay? A calendar is not a tool to put all the tasks, because what happens? The thing is that a PC professional has, I don't know, hundreds of tasks, okay, that needs to be done. And when they start, sending these tasks into the calendar, it becomes chaotic, okay, because a to-do list, the tasks that I have to do, they are endless. I can keep adding and adding and adding tasks until I die, and still after death, I will keep receiving tasks, okay? So that's a problem. That's why we need to create boundaries, okay? Because a to-do list is something endless, okay? But time is not, okay? And we have also what we call constraints. I don't want to go too deep into the nitty-gritty of the theory behind, okay? But when we have events, that's something that it's mandatory. It's time consuming for us. We go, well, if you have someone who kills the events that someone created for you, well, that's a way of getting rid of those events, okay? But usually we respect, and we need to respect those events, okay? But the thing is that here it becomes the connection, the link, the concept that not so many people understand is that a task is a time-consuming item, and an event is a time-consuming item. And that's where all the confusion emerges, okay? Because we need something to manage our time. And that's not a calendar, and that's not a task management tool. That's a planner, okay? It's a planner. The point is that people get confused because they don't understand these three items, okay? Because nobody told them about them, okay? Task, time, and events, okay? But also because all the tools offer different views, okay? And the moment that a task management tool like Todoist offers, okay, or brings to the table a feature that it's a calendar where you can see everything, because also it connects with your Google Calendar or Apple Calendar or whatever, or Outlook, then everything becomes a mess. And people at the beginning, they think that, well, this is the holy grail, okay? I have everything in just one tool, but that's not what happens.
Says in the chat, right? When you said why people want to have everything in one place, his response, because it sounds great. But he follows up saying, but it's a lie.
Correct. Correct. And the thing is that the moment that people see a calendar in a task management tool, they get confused because they don't know if they are looking at a calendar, at a planner. Well, a lot of people don't know what a planner is and what's the main purpose. That's why we keep insisting to Sunsama and pure planners, like, for instance, Akiflow, that are time-based tools, okay? They help you manage your time, and that's the beautiful thing, because they allow you what we want, okay? We want a place where we can represent things that are going to consume our time and try to organize them, okay? And it's not, a calendar is not the right one, because you have two options. You can estimate, okay, and schedule using the starting time and the end time. And the moment that you get delayed, that's something that's going to happen in minute 1 of your day, okay? Everything, you're going to be organizing and reorganizing everything, and that's where the fight. The other option in a calendar is, no, don't worry. I will create as a one-day event. But man, if I have 200 tasks for today, okay, let's make things like radical. It's impossible. I cannot manage. I want to create a sequential order. And that's why it's important to understand that a calendar, we should forget about the calendar view, okay? Yeah. We have items that represent time slots. And the beautiful thing is that I can order them sequentially, no matter if they are a meeting, a task, or whatever, or a routine, okay? And that's something important, because if we want to have everything in one place to organize the things, that's what a planner brings to the table. That's the real added value of a planner, that you can combine items that consume your time, no matter the tools, because that's the beautiful thing about Sunsama, the integration that it has with so many tools, okay, with Linear, with ClickUp, with many tools, okay? So you can bring all your time consumers, okay, and organize them quickly,
and
because
that's
important
too. That's
okay?
a good point, because John in the chat also said, where was it? 1 second. Yeah, he said, I'm pushing for fewer tools and context switching for myself. Yes, but Paco, you said a very important thing here about sequentiality. And that's something you still cannot properly represent in ClickUp, even that they allow you to see the calendar and you see the task list next to it. But you cannot quickly move tasks up and down unless you reschedule the due date and based on time. So you move it to the calendar, and there you can reprioritize things. But I had a call with another member where he said too, I have all my tasks on my calendar and it works fine. And then it's great, keep using it. But the reason why this is working, the lack of volume. That we keep saying, the moment volume comes into the equation, this breaks. If you have even just 20 tasks to handle, and you put them on an all-day view on a day, you keep moving things around, and all these manual interactions move things around. You constantly also reprioritizing the whole thing. You have no visual representation of what was it, my weekly goal and my shallow work and all the things get all on a calendar with plain text. Then, it makes it so hard to update these things. And context switching is exactly the thing. I mainly have small things in Todoist. So the moment I have the context of doing my shallow work, I have know where to go to see the things that I need to work on. So in Sunsama, there are not all the tiny tasks I need to do. There's just a placeholder task that tells me, or routine actually, that tells me, okay, now doing shallow work, and I know now I go to I do context switching by switching the tool. And again, this makes only sense to people who are overwhelmed with too many tasks, or like we have now the new Inner Circle members, we also have there exactly this example. It worked great, until I was 40, 45, but now I'm an expert. I'm settled. I want to scale the things. I want to start a side hustle. I want to take on more opportunities. And this becomes overwhelming because suddenly there are more than 3-4 tasks per week. And then you want to take on more. And then you have to compare it to your time restrictions. Otherwise, it's not working.
Yeah, and it's important to understand that we need to be prepared for the unexpected things that are going to happen daily, constantly, okay? That we need to have a way of quickly analyze the impact of that unexpected thing that happened. Could be an event, could be a call, could be a new task, it could be something is on fire. I don't know, many things that happen for a busy professional. And we need to quickly check the impact, decide, and reschedule everything quickly. If I have, in my calendar, the task perfectly put into every single start time and end time, it's really difficult. In fact, it's impossible. Okay, that's why there are calendars, there are planners, and there are task management tools, because they are quite complicated. I mean, we think that a calendar is something simple. It's not. Okay, it allows you to do many things related to events. Okay, nothing related to tasks, but a lot of things that a calendar tool takes care of. Exactly the same with a planner. Here, we are talking about a graphical user interface that allows you to quickly reschedule things. For instance, how I can quickly check visually my weekly goals, okay? The things that are really important to me every single day for a week. That's something that I need to be aware of that at any moment, so that I always take into account that no matter what happens, I'm moving forward towards my goal. That's what weekly goals allow you. And in the other way, talking about task management, we have described some of the main features that a task manager, if I want to quickly capture something on ClickUp, that's why it's impossible. I cannot compare, to do it with Linear, with ClickUp, with Asana. It's impossible, and impossible the other way around. Okay.
And I think it's important to point out here to get this even a better understanding what people miss out is the differences between the different types of action that you're doing. That's another part that people don't understand or not realize, right? That they're doing different parts of types of action. So when I read from Vincent in the chat, the real strength of Sunsama is its integration with various tools, allowing you to plan from your other systems. And I said it in the beginning too. Sunsama is amazing that you can bring the things together. But in fact, then you don't realize the underlying tool agnostic workflow that is behind this, because everything should be possible to do based on paper or on tool agnostic workflows independent from the tools. So let's break this down quickly, where you realize you don't need to have one central point to talk about. Otherwise, you do the second brain approach or para approach, where you have to move all the any email that has an action to your action system and all the things. You don't have to do this. You just need to realize that there are different types of actions sitting in different systems, and have a centralized point where you have a routine where you process these different places. So therefore, when I say I do my shallow work, and most of the shallow work is an email, Then I know when I start doing shallow work, I go to email and maybe I have a label or I have start my emails, and these are the things that I need to work on. And if there is a specific type of action within an email that takes longer or is a deep work or is something related to a project, then I move this out of the email thing and move it into the right action system. So when I go there, I have immediate context what I need to work on. And the only thing that keeps me in control of all over this different places are routines, and not like Sunsama bringing everything into one place. And that's really important to understand. And then when you get this tool agnostic understanding, then you realize how tools like Sunsama can actually help you to enhance these workflows that you have previously done. That's why we keep saying you have to do things manually. Then you don't get into the situation that automation deletes an event with 100 people.
Yeah, really. And I think that because we need to wrap things up, I think that the more we stick to these three main pillars of tasks, time, and events, the better we will work, okay? Yeah. Because there are specific tools that you can clearly identify, okay? If you don't like, I don't know, Google Calendar, there are beautiful calendars app that you can choose from. If you don't like Todoist, there are a lot of task management tools that are beautifully designed, okay? And you can use them. And there are also specific planners, okay? The point is, I think that the thing is that as not so many people understand planners as task management tool, their own tools and their own software companies needs to develop features, okay, to compete with the task management tools, for instance. And that's why, for instance, on Sunsama, you have the feature of create task. That's how you create a new item on Sunsama, and that's confusing. You should say create a time slot, okay? And the moment that people, just with that subtlety, I think that that will position much better Sunsama, because if they try to compete with Todoist, that has been dedicated for 15 years to develop a task management tool, it's never going to work, okay? Because it's really difficult for them to catch up. But if they analyze, because if we go through the roadmap, they say things that make all the sense. For instance, they are talking about objectives, that it's a word that we do love, okay? Because that way, objectives in Sunsama represents the weekly goals, okay? And they are tasks. They are not goals, okay? They are tasks that you need to complete to move forward towards your goals, okay? And if they help you to better manage objectives, for instance, is in the roadmap, it's something that makes sense for a planner, because at any moment, I'm aware of the connection in my action system of the connections with goals that belongs to the company, to my business, to my team, even to myself, okay? And I have everything there. And they can do an excellent job by being focused on those areas without going into the nitty-gritty of task management, that it's a mess. And also that is not prepared. It's not prepared the database model behind, it's not prepared the graphical user interface, it's not prepared a lot of different things. And in fact, we get scared a little bit, because what we find thanks to Sunsama is that peace of mind, that sense of control. We have found many of our inner circle members that after going into Sunsama, they say, well, man, it changed my life. It literally changed my life, because whenever I'm, lost, I look at Sunsama and I know what I need to do. I can perfectly reorganize the thing and nothing's happened. And also, it's so beautifully designed that it's amazing, the interaction that you have with the tool. And that's something that they cannot, the moment that they start adding features and adding features that don't really belong to the time management world, I think that it becomes a little bit chaotic, but it's their company.
What really worried me in this newsletter was the mentioning or talking about the backlog. We kept saying in Sunsama, you have a backlog where you can move tasks in. And the question was always, what for, right? Why would you do this? And the reason is because there is some sort of task management in Sunsama. So you cannot handle all the tasks on the front end, and you cannot move them from week to week. So let's move them to the backlog, and they give you a shortcut, and then you have an endless list of tasks in the backlog that you then need to manage. And that's why they say now, well, we heard you. We look into the backlog and we want to make this more sophisticated task management tool now. And I thought, my God, delete the backlog and focus on the time management on the front end, right? Because it's on us to move in the already prioritized things to Sunsama. And then I just use Sunsama to plan it out. I don't want to have all the tasks in Sunsama. Otherwise, it's a mess again. But from a company's perspective, I can understand it's hard for them to compete when they don't cover it all. But we saw it with Evernote. I'm just giving this warning. It was the first tool where we said, man, look at this. They add the calendar, they add a task manager, they add all this. What they haven't added properly is something I told Ian Small already years ago. Handling of tags, interconnecting of nodes. Well, that is already too late. Other tools did it. So they were on the forefront with the calendar. But people think, like Vincent, to refer back to what Vincent said in the chat, people think they want this. But the moment they have it, they realize they don't want this. They want focus again. So they switch from, I want to have everything in one place. Then they have everything in a place, but then they get overwhelmed and scattered. And then they look at focus tools again, and that will be recurring.
Yes, there's also, I would like to mention, because it's something that I consider that nowadays is, well, quite common for people to try to find this type of tools. That is what do they call time boxing 2.0, okay? That literally is a new version of time boxing that automatically fills in your day with tasks and adjusts to your schedule in real time without you ever needing to time box a single task manually or automatically. And I recently wrote an article talking about that right now, today, okay? AI is not prepared for create mess in my schedule, okay? Yeah. Because there are a ton of different subtleties that I cannot communicate to AI so that it takes them into account, because it's impossible. The point is that the complexity of the life of a busy professional, it's so huge, so big, that not even AI can manage all that. And the moment that I get, that I have a 10-minute of free time, maybe I don't want to be filling with a task that emerges out of the blue.
Maybe this is the reason why they mentioned knowledge management too, because many, especially personal tasks, are just very short titles, right? With no context, maybe a link to the external source in your knowledge management system. So you have the context, but in your brain, everything is connected. Makes all the sense why you're doing it. So how the heck is the tool able, and no matter how sophisticated the AI will be, to manage this? And as you just said, I don't want, when I have free time, somebody filling up the time with things, because maybe I'm in a momentum with my deep task and I didn't just update it, and the AI sees a gap there and fills it in with other things. That's stupid. And I want to make a review about Motion, because that's I think even worse, a project management tool where the whole team gets rescheduled with the task and the prioritization. And that's something where this all is on the wave of AI, and they just want to leverage this because, like on piece of paper, it makes all sense and sounds good. But again, if you cannot have a personal human assistant to manage your tasks properly without constant back and forth to explain the things, how the heck are you able to do this then with AI, with the restriction of broader context?
And also that you're covering something that is not a need. I mean, if I think about the time and effort that I dedicate to schedule my things out, it's nonsense. I don't need that help. Okay, I don't need that help at all.
It starts there that you cannot. If you schedule out each 5-minute task on a calendar, that's where they think, oh, we can handle this for you. Let's fill in this with 3 other tasks. But as we said, if we have just a bucket where we have a list of tasks that are in the sequential order I need to work on, I go there and I do as many tasks as I can. If I have a 30-minute break unexpectedly between meetings, and I think, oh, what should I do now? Hey, let's ask AI what I could do now. What the heck? I go to my task manager and I know exactly what I need to do next. So I can jump ahead of time. And that just all shows that people play with the anxiety and confusion of professionals that they have, and they say they can solve problems in a way that's impossible to be solved. And I want to see one person. I call this out, right? Reach out, go to the comments, write email, tell me your use case and show me how you're handling this in your life with automatic AI synchronization and handling your way. I haven't seen any example, like most productivity gurus too. They all share their systems, but never show the system behind the scenes. So let's do this, okay? Then I maybe try, I believe it.
Okay,
Well,
perfect then.
The rant has ended, but it will continue next week. So make sure to tune in again.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
See you guys. Thank you.